Can you give us, number one, the Cliff Notes version of your incredible career?
Well, back in 1975, I was a dorm counselor in undergrad dorm at UC Berkeley, going through law school, and they moved the freshman football team into the dorm, and one of the students was the quarterback, and Steve Bartkowski. He became the first pick in the first round of the NFL draft and asked me to represent him. So here we are 51 years later, and this will be my 51st draft.
That's amazing. How many players have you represented over the years?
Well, in the draft, 64 first-round draft picks, 8 players that were the first overall pick. I've done hundreds of players in different sports, and I have 12 players in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
That's pretty crazy. Do you feel like name dropping any of them right now?
Well, Patrick Mahomes, in the past, Steve Young, Warren Moon, Troy Aikman, Drew Bledsoe, Bruce Smith, the all-time sack leader, Derek Thomas, Thurman Thomas.
That's awesome. So, are you still actively representing people?
So I still have about 15 players, and one of whom is Patrick Mahomes, quarterback of the Chiefs, and so yes, but I also work with players in terms of health and wellness. I have a new concussion academy that is exploring head injury that occurs in football and collision sports.
So let's talk a little bit more about that, about helping players off the field as well. How excited do you get for a night like this when dreams are coming true, number one? And number two, how cautious are you to kind of coach these young men through this?
So you need to take a holistic view towards this and think about a player in terms of being a role model, retracing their roots to the high school, collegiate, and professional community, setting up a high school scholarship fund, a charitable foundation, also to lay the groundwork for second career, because it can be over in a moment. And so you're pointing a player towards a career as a coach, on media, business, and doing all that. And then you want them to safeguard their health. A game like football will break down every joint, but the worst injury is concussion. And multiple head injuries occasion a much higher rate of Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, premature senility. So you want to counsel players to safeguard their long-term health.
So what will your message be here today for these wives, girlfriends, and siblings even of these potential NFL players?
That mothers have a critical role to play in the lives of their athletic sons, that encouraging them to safeguard their health, encouraging them to be a role model, encourage them to plan for second career, taking care of their financial lives. All of these are essential elements, and these mothers have instilled exactly the right values in their sons. And you asked about the draft. There's no more exciting night than draft night, because you have family and extended family surrounding the athletes. You have tension ratchets up because they're never totally sure who's going to take them, and draft time is not real time, it's water torture time. Every second seems like a minute, every minute seems like an hour. Drip, 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 until finally that moment of exultant joy occurs, and Green Bay will be a place they remember their entire lives.
Yeah. So your biggest concern for these young men, the first thing you're going to tell them or tell these relatives of them to do after their name is called, what is the first thing?
To thank the coach and the owner, to know who they are, to put on a hat that signifies the team that takes them.
To be happy about it, right?
Oh, to be exultant, filled with joy.
I'm sure during the course of your career, you've seen some of these things not actually work out so well.
So sometimes the team that's supposed to pick a player or you think is going to pick a player doesn't, and then you have the case of the plummeting draft pick. There's nothing more treacherous than sitting under the hot lights of ESPN and the NFL Network when they've prognosticated you to go in the 7th position, but you don't get drafted till the 15th. But you know what? The 15th is a big honor.
So how has the sports industry changed in the time that you started in the dorm room back then?
Well, first of all, television is the driver of the revenue, and it's TV contracts with the networks that are funneling all this revenue. Second of all, you now have social media. And so you've got the multiple platforms of content supply. Third of all, you have a process called NIL, name, image, likeness. And this has taken the place, so instead of a player waiting until he signs his first contract, he's already doing deals at a very early age. You may have a 15-year-old high school quarterback signing deals, so that's fundamental. And the athletes themselves have changed. They grow up on social media, fast cutting, shorter attention span. So they're a product of texting and tweeting and all of that.
I'm sure you probably warn about the dangers of social media sometimes.
Dangers, because a quote that is meant for one audience goes to the entire world.
Any other pieces of advice or wisdom that you want to share?
No, just that this is a special day that will never be forgotten. And then the concept of rotating the draft from different cities gives a place like Green Bay a chance to be the host and it brings thousands of people into this area that otherwise wouldn't experience the really iconic role that the Packers have played in football through the ages.
Thank you so much. Well, you have a wealth of knowledge. I'm sure it has to seem like you